Good day, beautiful people. It is Monday, December 28th, 2020, man. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys had a great weekend and Merry Christmas, guys. It's done and over with, and we are moving forwards. The New Year is about to come in a few days, and man, 2020 been a hell of a year. I bet a lot of us can't wait for it to be over, but at the same time, you don't want to just mark the year off as a write-off, right? You don't want to go around and be like, oh, 2020 was the worst year. It was, again, it had its ups and downs. Definitely not an easy year for most of us, but I wouldn't say it's been horrible. It's been, it's been a period of growth. It's been a period of change, and I like to, again, look at the glass half full rather than half empty. Moving forward in 2021, I just want to be doing more positive things. I want to be creating more content for you guys. I want to bring in more laughter, bring in more joy. I don't want to look at more topics, have some critical analysis of this, that, and the other, and some of it's going to be on point, some of it's going to be off point, but that's it, man. This is a one-man show. It's a one-man band. We're going to rock and roll till the wheels come off. And having said that, I'm looking forward to things easing up, guys. I'm looking forward to things easing up. I think we've all had enough of the lockdowns, bruh. Oh, I miss people so much. I miss people so much. I miss hanging out in groups. I miss just being able to move about freely, dude. That's the biggest thing. And like when we talk about going back and having a sense of normalcy, certain things I don't want to go back to the way they were. We're not going to really focus on those things today. Or maybe we will, I don't know. And FYI, I'm just going to keep ranting today. This is going to be one of the longer videos that I've done in a while. And so if it gets cut off, I will perhaps come back and make another video towards the end and just say my goodbyes for the day. But if it gets cut off at any point around the 45-minute or hour mark, my apologies in advance, alright? Again, this is a one-man show. My time's not spent too much on editing and whatnot. I just like to start the camera, start rolling, and go at it and see what comes about. Just get a sip of this bad boy right here. Black coffee, ready to go. Alright. Alright. Let's do this. Something that happened over the weekend that was really exciting and I really appreciate it. It was a neighborly gesture, dude. So I forget if it was the 25th or 26th. I opened my apartment door. I was about to head out and I noticed a wonderful little package waiting outside for me. So I take this package inside, I unwrap it, and inside I found this beautiful box of cookies. You know what? Bear with me a few seconds. It's right over here. I'm just going to grab it. Hold on a sec. Alright, look at this. Look at this. Now, my intention originally was to savor some of these. Yeah, there was not much savoring, dude. There's like 3 cookies left. I ate the entire effing box and it was delicious. So let me just show you one of the samples. There were these little cute little gingerbread men in there as well. So my next door neighbor made this for all the neighbors and she hung it on everybody's door. And I found this, and I haven't seen her yet, so I haven't had a chance to actually thank her. And I want to ask her if she's doing this professionally, because I think that the cookies, top notch, bro. Homemade. She made a list of all the ingredients. She put it in there, like noting if if you have any allergies and whatnot, don't worry about it. But look at the packaging. She even put it in a nice Christmas package and hung it on everybody's doors, made little tiny notes just wishing everybody, and this is the stuff that, this is unexpected. It brings joy to my heart, and it's living in the city, man. I bet you guys can relate. You all have next door neighbors or neighbors across from you, and oftentimes we don't get a chance to speak because everybody's busy doing their own thing. But here it is, man. At the end of the day, we're all being thoughtful, trying to do our best, and this was such a beautiful gesture. And when I see her, I will definitely ask her if she's doing this professionally, because if she's got a company, and if she's in need of any sort of promotion, I will definitely love to shout out. This is grassroots. If this is something that she's, in the back of her mind cooking, I'll definitely mention. I'll ask her when I see her. I'll definitely ask her, and yeah, I'll mention the name so you guys can hit her up for some delicious cookies. If that's her path, I don't know if this was a one-time thing just for the homies around the block, but if not, so be it. I enjoyed the cookies, and I'm not that great at making my own cookies and whatnot. My specialty is once in a while I'll get a little bit, excited in the kitchen if I have some old banana left over. I'll make like a mean banana bread or a banana cake, and that's the only thing that I can really make in terms of cookies and cakes and whatnot. My baking skills are not that great. I'm not gonna lie, but does your boy enjoy a nice gingerbread man cookie around Christmas? Hell yeah, man, that was sweet. It was delicious. I made some coffee, and like I said, I was gonna savor it and show you the little guys, but 2 days, those little men did not stand a chance. All right, I'm gonna tell you that right now. They did not stand a chance because it was good, man. I couldn't not resist. All right. Hope you guys have had some delicious little snacks. I'm sure everybody's been eating a little something, something over the Christmas, sipping on a little something, something, smoking a little something, something, having a little bit of fun. I'm glad to hear that or know that. I bet a lot of you guys are celebrating despite the fact that, it's been weird times, dude. It's been weird times, right? Toronto, man, we just went under a new lockdown. It's going to go for another 28 days, and boy, oh boy, am I tired of these lockdowns. I know you guys are too. Ever since they started around 8-9 months ago, we have had, in the city anyway, every week there's protesters going out, with the anti-mask, anti-lockdown slogans and whatnot, and I've never participated. One time I was walking down the street on Yonge Street, and I went all the way downtown on my usual route, and I noticed them as well. They were protesting, and they've got the right, dude. They've got the right. I've got no issue with people protesting because I think your voices need to be heard. Now, my personal opinion on this, I've mentioned this once, I've mentioned it a few times. I'm not here to ever downplay COVID. I do believe it's a new virus that's out there that we do have to deal with. But having said that, this is now 9 months in. We have had plenty of practice. We have had plenty of time to come up with new methods and new ways of dealing with this situation. But when I look at the leaders out there, when I look at the political parties, when I look at the politics that are running the show, it seems like they've got this one remedy that they're just applying generically to this very diverse situation, and most of us as good citizens put up with it because, well, we don't want to cause chaos, we don't want to cause unrest, and at the end of the day, we don't want to see our institutions fail because we all depend on these institutions, right? Whether they're school systems, whether they're the police departments, whether they're public amenities. We need all these institutions so that people can, but we need the institutions so that we can have access to each other as people, right? If you have schools that none of the kids can attend to, what's the point of having the physical body of a school or a university or a college campus? If you are having all these churches, mosques, synagogues that nobody can go to, what is the point? And it's like, it frustrates me on another level because with, homelessness has always been an issue, and I don't have a particular answer as how to go about solving it. I don't believe in just giving out freebies, but I do believe there should be some sort of assistance for those who really need it. And I think this was a great time for us to really, again, focus on mental health issues, right? Sure, the government's definitely playing it safe, and we're all playing along for a little while. But that's the thing. Do we not need to embrace other ideas to go hand in hand? So because we need to, in order to reduce the lockdowns, we need to add more positive things like more education on just personal hygiene, like moving about and stuff, personal health, teaching kids from a young age that exercising should be a part of your life on a regular, right? I'm not talking about like excessive exercising. If you want to be a professional athlete, that's a lifestyle, that's a choice, that's a whole nother level. But just getting people to be a little bit more health conscious, eating properly, taking care of their health, taking vitamins, depending on where you're living. You need, like here in Toronto, we don't get enough sunlight, and Canada in general, right? So you should definitely be taking vitamin D, guys. Everybody should be taking vitamin D. I don't have vitamin D intake myself, but I do take my multivitamins on a regular, and it helps. It definitely helps. So there's that aspect of it. There's the education system that needs to be, we need I don't know if it's, I don't want to say overhaul or anything, but the overall education system, I'm not too happy with it, you guys. Especially this morning, I got up and, did my morning ritual, if you will. I get up, brush my teeth, I come in my living room, I have a 10 to 15 minute workout that I do every day, and every day I hit a different body part, right? One day I'll do legs, and my leg exercises consist of, I'll do 100 body weight squats, right? And very slow pace, just count to 100. And after that, I will do lunges. I will do 50 lunges on each leg, so that's like 200 repetitions for my legs. Then I will do 50 sit-ups for my core, and that'll be just one day. Very brief, right? It doesn't take too much of my time. I'm not like, and this has been a lifestyle, and I've been doing this for many years. I'm not the most, like, I'm not the fittest guy. I'm not, a super athlete or anything like that, but I'm relatively fit. And you can do little things, man. If you start by 5 minutes, start by 10 minutes, do something. If you're not active, get some sort of exercise in your life, because it's vital. It's, we need to be improving our own health. And I have my vices. I'm not, I've told you guys this a million times. I smoke cigarettes, and that's something that I'm mindful of, that I'd like to, and I've been reducing it over the years. But, it goes through phases, and this year was not a particularly easy year. So again, that's something that I'm mindful of and that I'm working on. But you do your best. Try to do something to improve your situation is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, I don't see any sort of support from the government, because right now you tell people, okay, go get locked down, don't send your kids to school, don't go to the malls, don't go to places of worship. Well, people need each other for interactions, right? I mean, our mental health is dependent on interacting with each other, and sometimes it's, you get together with a bunch of friends and it's just like a fun time, having you laugh, you joke around, nothing serious, and that's what you need. Sometimes you need to go see, a more sacred place. You need some people need that. I personally I've never been to a mosque, I've never been to a church, I've never been to a synagogue. I'm not a religious person, but for some people it works, and if it helps you stay out of trouble or stay in line with your life, then so be it. But right now it's like all these buildings, all these amenities are just being left empty. For what? For what, you guys? It's a shame. It's a shame that nobody's actually using these facilities in time of need. It's like, why did we ever build places of worship in the first place? It was to, help the needy, help those that have fallen, And it breaks my heart, because I bet there are still a lot of people like doing their best. Again, I'm not affiliated with any of these groups. I'm sure there are people involved in the community doing their best, but our best has been it's limited. How much can you do with, minimal movement? It's an issue, guys. It's a big issue, and we cannot. I'll tell you what, man. Like, if we continue down this path, we will see, unfortunately, more rises in cases of suicide. We will see more cases of what do you call it? Having a brain fart right now. Domestic violence issues. I'm sure we're gonna see more children acting out, being distraught, just because kids need kids to interact and learn how to socialize. It's horrible what we're doing for the kids, man. It is horrible what we're doing for the kids. And this is not to take away from the severity of the situation. I'm not saying COVID's not real. I'm not saying it's not a virus. I'm not saying we don't need vaccines. We need all of that, but we do need additional supplements to go along with this system. It just can't be like, okay, sit in your homes, don't do nothing, don't, close down all the restaurants, close down all the comedy clubs, don't let anybody go anywhere. And how long can we do this before everything collapses? Or, like, that's the thing. And sometimes when I say I'd like us to get some sense of normalcy back, and when I mentioned prior to this that some things I'd like to see change, is perhaps a change in the economical system. The way we're working with money and how we assign value to things, it's ridiculous, guys. Like, I've mentioned this before, man, but like, money's so arbitrary and it's so subjective, and the way we use it, it makes no sense. And especially right now, it seems like right now, the gap between the rich and poor is just, being exasperated. It's just being amplified even more, because if you have a lot of capital, and I don't want to name drop, you all know who I'm talking about, the big boys, right? The ones at the top with the big names and the logos, that have become so intertwined in our lives, and we love their services too. No doubt. But what I'm afraid is going to be happening more and more is you're going to see more closures of mom and pops, and it's happening left, right, and center, and it's just not fair, dude. It is not fair because people who operate mom and pop shops, they're not, multi-millionaires. These guys don't have surplus amounts of money sitting in the bank so that if they have a month or two that, they can just dip into that if they're running short and like make ends meet. Everybody knows how, like my parents owned and operated a small used car dealership, and through the 2008 market crash that we had, I was a kid, but I remember the troubles that they had to go through. So economical turbulence is really hard to deal with on a regular basis, let alone if you shut down the economy for 9 months globally. This is just, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know if anybody knows what we're doing, but it seems like a disaster in terms of how we're prepping for it. And the thing is, some of my fears that I've kind of been thinking about in the past are coming true little by little. I mean, like I mentioned this before, I'm like, what if this virus, like any other virus, starts to, adapt and take new form? And you're reading that, you're hearing that it's, coming in various forms nowadays in different parts. Heard there's a new variant in the UK. We just got a new variant apparently in Canada as well. So like, this is going to be a part of our lives. We can't just go about shutting down everything. If the death rate is 1% or less than 1%, guys, like, where is the logic? Where is the common sense? Where are the numbers that make sense, Just, and I'm not an expert, guys. I'm just like this 31-year-old dude who's interested in learning and growing and doing different things. I like to question things, and I want to be of assistance. And I think sometimes, we all need to voice our opinion, and perhaps some good would come of it. I don't got the answers, but all I know is that we're not doing everything we can. We've just, we're just putting on a little band-aid called lockdown on everything and going about it all willy-nilly. 14 days at a time, 28 days at a time, and everybody's just sitting on the edge of their seats. Okay, are we going to go back to normal today? Is it going to be next month? Is it going to be And it's... what can we do? What can we do, guys? What do you guys think we could do? Could we not operate in a manner where it's safe for everyone? Can we not have businesses operating in a safe manner? And I think every business up until now has been very cooperative with the government. I see restaurants in the summer, they put out the patios outside, which to me makes no sense because, again, ultimately you have people eating and dining. Dude, whether it like... So be it. You ask people to put out those plastic covers in between as if air molecules don't travel over. So be it. We did it, okay? It looks good, I guess. What else have we done? Everybody's wearing the masks. Almost everybody's wearing the masks now without even questioning it, just because we don't want any, I don't like the mask. I hate the mask. I'll tell you that straight up. I can't wait for it to not become, mandatory, and I'll be the first one to burn that, But we all do these things for each other. And my 2 cents on this matter is I think we should, focus on those individuals. If you're at high risk of, if you are overweight, if you're obese, if you have underlying health issues like diabetes, breathing problems, whatever it is, if you are an elderly citizen, if you're, in your late 70s, early 80s, you should be very, careful about your movements. Your children, your family should be very careful about their movements so that they don't put you in danger. But these are things we can all practice on a regular basis. We don't need to lock down forever, guys. Like, this is... It seems like a very over-exaggerated response. And I'm just trying to figure out the logic behind it. Okay, so initially, we had the lockdowns because we didn't know what this thing was. We wanted to play it safe, and we rather, risk losing a little bit of business if it meant that we're going to be losing millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Of course, sure. But globally speaking, just Google it, guys. Google the number of deaths due to COVID so far, all right? And I believe it should be around 1.7 million, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked globally. I may be wrong, so that's why I'm asking you guys. Double check these things. What are the total number of deaths for 9 months globally? I believe it's around 1.7. I may be wrong. Please go ahead and Google that. And I also want you guys to Google another number. Google the global deaths every year just due to regular flu. Google that number as well, you guys. All right? I believe that number falls anywhere between 250,000 people to 700,000 people. Let's take the median of that bad boy. Let's say 500,000 people unfortunately lose their lives every year due to regular old flu. So, what do we have here? 1.7 million versus 500,000. Of course, this is not the flu. This is more severe than the flu. But it's not significant to the point where we have to shut down everything globally. The numbers don't add up. Here's the thing. I was never even good at numbers, guys. This is why I'm asking you. Where's the math behind this? Right? 1.7 million. Am I wrong? It's probably growing on a regular, right? So 9 months. Let's just do a little quick math here. Hold on a sec. So let's see, 1.7 divided by 9 months. That is roughly 188,880 deaths a month. So multiply that by 12 months. So by the time that we reach March again, when this whole bad boy started out and was let loose, we would potentially have reached 2,266,666 deaths globally, right? The number is definitely high. But is it high to the point that it's more than 1%? It is not. So we're shutting down the entire economy because 1% or less than 1% of the global population is dying? Am I getting this twisted? Like, it feels like a bad joke at this point. It just feels like a bad joke. Unless I'm reading the wrong numbers, unless Google's not telling that's the thing. You got to fact check. And you can't just take your facts from Wikipedia and Google either. But I'm looking at the numbers that the World Health Organization is putting out. So who else are you supposed to go to? If you guys are supposed to be the science experts and I'm supposed to check out your numbers, the numbers don't add up to our reactions. It's like you get a little cut and you start, inserting yourself with IVs and band-aiding yourself up and turning yourself into a little mummified cocoon baby just because you got a little teeny tiny paper cut. And I'm not saying this is a teeny tiny paper cut, but the reaction is an overreaction. That's what it feels like. And so I've talked about that point of it. So what could be the reasons that we're doing this to ourselves? I've got a few ideas. I think there's obviously a ton of money involved right now. There's big corporations, big pharma making a ton of money, and there's a lot of things intertwined. There's a lot of intersectionality of subjects that are just intertwined. So it's not just one thing, right? So one reason I think the governments are moving forward with more lockdowns is to just overall, you guys, I love analyzing situations. I've always loved looking at symbols. I've always loved looking at the symbolic meaning of symbols, the symbolic meaning of our movements, our behaviors as individuals and as groups. With that being said, over the years, over the past century, over the past 50 years, over the past decade, just because of the way globalization's been taking place, and you had powerful players like you had Russia, you had the United States, you had China, you had the UK, you had all these global powerful states, pulling in different directions. And due to this power struggle, there have been a lot of tinier little countries that have been affected. And a lot of people have been immigrating out of their homelands, which is, it's been so normalized now, immigration, right? But at one point, I think we got to a point where places that were getting high numbers of immigrants, like, the UK is a point because a lot of people, move west from either the Middle East or Asia or other parts of Europe to the UK. What's another country that attracts a lot of immigrants? Canada and the US, right? The US is a hotspot for immigrants. It's an immigrant nation, so is Canada. Everybody who is a Canadian or an American is essentially a immigrant unless you were a Native American or a Native Canadian. That's a different story, right? So I think this just, right now I think we've just had a big pause or a little stop button pressed on the whole process of immigration and movement and human traveling, right? I think the governments want to have more control over who's coming in, who's coming out, and obviously that makes sense to a certain extent. It makes sense to a certain extent. And what are we going to see moving forward? I think moving forward, we're definitely going to be seeing, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because I see both sides of the story. I do see more surveillance. I do see more tracking of movement. And we've already been doing this, like, that's the thing. I'm wondering how far more can you go in terms of tracking people, because we all carry the cell phones, right? These are GPS systems. These are, like, you've already got people's know-about. You know where everybody is. And most of us, if you're an adult, you have a credit card, so all your transactions are recorded everywhere. Like, our movements are pretty much always being looked over, and there's always constant surveillance. But I'm not the type that's worried about the ban. I don't care about that kind of stuff. My life's not that interesting. I don't think the man's about to, look into my iPhone and find there's nothing. You want to look, go ahead, look. That's not the argument, though. We shouldn't give up those privacies. Different topic, different discussion. The beauty of surveillance that I appreciate as well is, looking back at previous decades where we didn't have enough cameras or surveillance and whatnot and information, you could literally get away with murder. That was the issue. That was the issue, right? You could, imagine the 80s, imagine the 70s. Good Lord. You could legit get away with murder because it was just like, there was not many cameras around. There was not much, if you could do it and get away with it and weren't stupid enough to turn yourself in, there's a good chance you got away with murder. This is not the case anymore. And it's unfortunate because as a society, I think all of us would love to feel safe. That's why we're like, oh, well, obviously it makes sense. Yeah, put up a camera. People know that they're being watched, so they're not going to act a fool. And not that's the thing, though. That should not be the incentive for us to behave properly, right? The thought is behave as if somebody was watching you all the time. That's like paranoid state of mind. That's like I don't like that thought. I don't like to be thinking that someone's always watching me or someone's always watching you guys. But that's the reality. It's not like somebody's actually sitting there and watching, guys. But that's the thing. In case anything goes wrong, they would have access to it, right? They would have access to all your info in terms of all your phone information, all your credit card information. And an example of that is actually what just happened in Nashville. My heart goes out to the residents of downtown Nashville. It's, if you guys have not heard, there was a bomb that went off in downtown Nashville and, exploded in a neighborhood, ruined a bunch of businesses. From what I've read, and it's updating by the hour, from what I've read and what I understand, there were about 3 or 4 people that have suffered from minor injuries. And now recently, this is what I've read like 3 hours ago, they've found this dude that was, they're saying it was a suicide. They're saying it was a suicide attempt. That's what they're saying. I mean, if you haven't heard of this, I do recommend you check it out because it seems so weird. The whole thing seems so off. This guy, so if you're not familiar with the story, let me give you a brief little breakdown of what happened. This guy drives in an RV on Christmas and parks the RV in the downtown neighborhood of Nashville. there were a few gunshots that went off and people got alarmed. And there was a 15-minute, apparently there was a 15-minute tape that played. It was pre-recorded, and it started to warn everybody to evacuate the area because the bomb's going to go off and there's going to be an explosion. And luckily, you know, we had the emergency response units come into the scene, you know, shutting everything down, taking care of it. And from what I hear so far, apparently there are no deaths besides the guy that died in the car and the suicide. But to me, it's just like, it seems like there's something more. Excuse me. Because it seems like it was so elaborate. It was so well planned. It seems, and like right now they're saying this guy was a former IT guy. He was kind of, back in the day when he was younger, they've done interviews with his high school mates. They were saying he's kind of nerdy and all that, so be it. I mean, but, you know, he's had a permit to, or a license to deal with bombs and explosives and all that stuff. So this guy knew his way around explosives. And it's just like, if you're gonna commit suicide, it doesn't make sense to me at all to go through all this trouble. And if you're not even intending to hurt anybody, an explosion, dude? It like an big major destructive arts and crafts project for your final goodbye? I'm gonna wait and see what else comes out of this. It seems sus. I don't even want to start speculating yet. I don't even want to start speculating because it's just like, here's my, so that's the breakdown, right? They're saying it's a suicide. I don't know the reason why this guy would do that as a form of suicide. Like the amount of effort you'd have to go to, God. Oh, it makes no sense. Anyways, what I don't like from events like this, obviously it's destructive in every form, whether it's actually suicide or something else, it's destructive. Why? Because when events like this happen, and we had similar but different events happen in different parts of the world all the time, right? A few years ago we had the Toronto van attack right here at Yonge and Shepherd. A major intersection. I personally drive through there all the time. That's a major part of the city that everybody goes. And you know, if you're a Torontonian, you're very familiar with this area, so you drive or walk around this neighborhood at times. And yeah, this guy who was suffering from mental health issues decided to get up in a van and drive over people, and it's sad. It's very sad. My heart goes out to all the families, everybody that's been impacted, and it impacts us individually too. It impacts me, it impacts you. Why? Because every time we have acts of whatever you want to call it, whether it's terrorism, whether it's internal or external, whatever forms of big social distraught or disturbances come about, you know what our solution to it is? Guess. More surveillance, more policing, more government involvement in your everyday lives. And it sucks. Some of it is legit individuals, people that have lost their mind due to unforeseen events or circumstances, and they have not gone out to get the help that they need. This is why I want everybody to, like, this should be the year, and this is why I'm saying, like, the government's not doing enough. People need more mental health assistance, right? Don't be just putting on this one band-aid and pretend it's going to fix everything. That's the issue. I mean, we should be making mental health assistance more accessible, more affordable. We should take away the stigma of these things. And I'm sorry if I sometimes say some things, like if it doesn't, I'm just a human, dude. I'm trying my best to. I'm trying to get as many good positive messages out there as possible. So if it doesn't, you know, if once in a while something doesn't come out properly out of my mouth and it doesn't fit, it doesn't sit well with you guys, I don't mean to, dude. Whatever, it is what it is. I'm just trying to spit out some random jokes, random facts. Some of it is definitely debatable. I'm no expert on anything, dude. My main thing is to bring about stories and storytelling and jokes and entertainment, and I want to be a thought provoker, and that's what it is. So I don't know, maybe some of this stuff resonates with you guys. I don't know, but it's tough to do this all by your own because there's no, like, especially this is what I mean, man. Like, I need to be able to go out on stage and do my jokes and stuff. I don't want to be talking about this, but like I've got nothing else, bro. I can't move around much, and it is what it is for the time being. So that's how do we get here? Oh, more surveillance. Da, 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 da. Yeah, like that's the thing. I don't like these events because it just adds more fear to the public. It just adds more fear to the public, and it's like it's not fair, man. Like, have we not had enough? Like, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, guys. I just it got to me. It was right on Christmas. I'm like, man, why are you gonna do this? If it's a legit suicide attempt, like, you're being very inconsiderate, and if it's something else, then whoever else was involved is also being extremely, extremely inconsiderate of humanity, dude. Alright? This was an act of violence. It was destructive, it was negative, and I don't know your logic behind it. If it was a single act, if it was a group thing that was planned, who knows? We're waiting for more news to come out. And Lord knows the news is not trustworthy, man. So that's why I'm sitting, looking at events, trying to analyze it, trying to make sense of it. Here's the thing, dude. Like, I appreciate cops. I love good police officers. I love law enforcement because there is a need. I'm not that type of dude that says anarchy. No, dude. Like, we need balance, we need peace, we need people. But that's the thing, like, policing should, that's another aspect of society that needs a lot of reform, right? Policing. There should be a ton of more education. There should be probably different branches of policing. Sometimes your events where you call 911, you don't necessarily need a dude with a gun showing up, right? But these are not, this isn't my job, guys. The politicians, like, what are you guys doing? All this time, 9 months. I've not seen one extra hospital go up. Put an extra hospital in the town. You know what I mean? Like, how hard is it to make a hospital? You guys have no issues when it comes to building and getting things done. When it's condo time or it's a new development suburb, no problem. Let's build it up because it's all for profit. But when we need a new hospital or a couple of new hospitals or other facilities, it's oh no, it's a money issue. We all of a sudden ran out of money. Press that damn button, print it out. Just add the zeros and the commas. It doesn't mean jack all, alright? Moving on. Education. I was reading this morning. They did an interview with a couple of teachers in the Toronto District School Board, and the teachers have noticed that the kids are now it made me laugh, dude. It made me laugh so hard because it's something that I could relate to on a personal level, right? These kids are now at home sitting doing their homework and stuff, and they have found new ways of, guess what? Cheating on the tests and getting higher marks. This is what we're teaching our kids. I don't know if I should be laughing or crying, dude. I don't know if I should be laughing or crying, but I'll tell you what. Hey, man, if this is all we've taught to the kids so far, and it seems like it, because what are we teaching in the schools realistically? Whoever gets the highest grades goes on to get the better jobs and makes the more money. So at the end of the day, man, kids are kids, and they're our kids. They're my kids, they're your kids. I don't even have kids, I don't even like kids, but I'm just saying, what are we doing to ourselves? The way we're incentivizing things, right? Get that A, and get that, like, you gotta have that winning mentality, right? So the kids, because they want to get those A's and A pluses, they're texting each other back and forth answers. They're using new apps to find solutions to math problems. Why? Because we've taught to ourselves as a society that it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there. Alright? Get that cheese. Run after that cheese, little mouse. Dance, monkey, dance. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're teaching, guys. These kids don't want to disappoint their parents. These kids see 30 other kids sitting in the class, or not even sitting in the class, but we're teaching, survival of the fittest. we're teaching, we're still doing that. And to a certain extent, people need to, have that personal responsibility, go out, put up a fight. But what about teamwork? I like to think of it as these kids are actually getting together collectively, working to find answers. That's teamwork, dude. Like, they're having a difficult time, man. And you know what? I have personally cheated on a couple of tests back in the day myself, dude. But we had to do it the old-fashioned way, writing notes down, passing it back, having to come back. And one time the teacher caught us all cheating, sent us all out to the hallway, grade 12, I want to say. Mr. Sit, man. Shout out to Mr. Sit. Great teacher. I think it was actually our ethics class. So, and it taught me a lesson, dude. Over the years, I've made a couple of mistakes I've learned from. So cheating's not the answer, but that's the thing. We did it back in the day. We wrote the answers on papers, passed it around. I remember he was about to catch us. He stepped out the classroom. The paper came back to me, and I crumpled it all up and ate the damn thing. All right? Your boy ate some paper. But that was back in the day. Kids are fancy right now. If your kid's not talking to you, make sure they didn't swallow their cell phone. Maybe they got scared. You catch them and they just like chuck it down that throat and pretend they didn't do nothing. But if we keep on incentivizing the way we're doing, and only rewarding, who can manipulate the system the fastest and the quickest to get to the cheese, essentially, right? Which rat can figure out the fastest way to get to the prize? Are we rats? I don't think so, dude. So why don't we start treating each other with more respect, with more integrity, teach better values? And again, I'm no expert, man, but don't you guys think it's time for like reforms in our institutions? I don't believe in revolutions. I believe in nice little reforms, because I don't want revolutions and I don't want social upheaval. I don't want social unrest. I like our institutions. I love my home. I love Canada. And I love the United States. You guys are awesome, and I want to be visiting down when things loosen up. So I can't have you guys acting a fool, making everybody scared. So when your boy's down there, everybody's all like, shivering and scared, and it's like, let's chill, guys. Let's chill a little bit. Let's get together, have rational discussions. I'm not saying anything. I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous, and there are a ton of people that feel the same way. I think, here's the thing, we got another 28 days of lockdowns. What's to come after, If you're going to make the vaccines mandatory because, and that's the thing, people are like, I'm just not going to get it. Well, what if, that's the thing, I personally would not want to get it, but I probably have to. Because I want to visit my mom in the UK, I want to visit family in the United States, and F it, man. If you guys want to make it mandatory for people to travel, like, that's the thing, but stop it. Stop with the nonsense. Just be straight up. If you come at us with straight up facts and be like, legit, here's the numbers. We do need everybody to get vaccinated because of these particular set of reasons that are logical and make sense, majority of people would be cool with it. But, time and time again, the government has gone around and maybe thought in their head that they're going to do some necessary evil, right? And you guys mess up the trust we have, because like when we want to go out and vote, we need to have trust in the people up there. You can't just be saying nice things prior to getting elected in office and then get in office and then start acting like every other douchey, politician that only at the end of the day looks out for themselves and their little interest groups. Stop behaving like that. It's so frustrating, you guys. Ugh. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, how do we make it so that we can take care of the most people? You're never gonna, and like, so far democracy seems to be the best option. How do we make it better? I think maybe adding a legitimate third party and probably taking out lobbying out of politics would maybe add some. Some of you are like, there are already other parties, and yes, I hear you too. There's the Green Party. There's some independents here and there and all that stuff, but I'm talking about legitimate parties that actually, and the Green Party's cool and all that, but like, again, they need more gumph, they need more support. I'm not saying even they're the best options, but that's the thing, we haven't even heard too much about the Green Party, you know what I mean? But we do need, even in Canadian and American politics, we need alternative options. And when I say alternative options, is I don't mean just like follow this corrupt system where now you just added another party who's going to come in with their bag of lobbyists and political interest groups. No, you guys, we should take the high degree of money involved in politics out of politics, because right now it just seems like the dude with the most amount of influence and money can pretty much roll up out of nowhere and be like, all right, I'm your president, I'm your prime minister, because, you know, it is what it is. Look at me. I'm successful. So if I'm successful, it means that everybody's going to be successful if I just, you know, run the show. Sure, you might be successful for yourself, but doesn't mean you're really going to be good for everybody else. And long-time politicians, I just can't trust anymore, you guys. I cannot think of one decent politician. Can you guys name a decent politician? I legit can't, because any of them, even like the best of them, come in place and you start doing research, you're like, this person did that too, and this person also stood by that too. Like, is there not one politician that's just out there to just serve the people? Like, that's your job. You're supposed to be there for service. Maybe I'm a little bit off. Maybe I'm a little bit off. I don't know. Maybe that's not what politics is all about. Maybe politics is just dirty tricks. Man, oh man. All I'm saying is I miss you guys. I miss people. I want to get out there, man. I want to get out there on stage, on the road. I want to be traveling. And I know you guys feel the same. So we all have to take our collective thoughts and formulate better plans. Let's start by getting decent arguments and discussions going and that's the thing, we need to learn how to have discussions without people getting all up in their feelings. Oh, he said this, he's so offensive. Oh, he said that, he doesn't agree with me. Let's have discussions like adults. You say something, I'll hear you out, you hear me out, and at the end of the day, it's just called talking and communication, guys. That's how we're going to learn and grow. Nobody's got it down perfect. We need to collaborate. We need to work together. We need to come together as one, as a collective. I don't know how to do this, you guys. We just need more people getting in line with the ideas of it. Here's the thing. We need to get rid of intolerance. And like, here's the thing. You should be able to do whatever you want. I don't like labels and all that stuff, but in my mind, I guess I would maybe consider myself somebody who's a libertarian. I value liberty and freedom over anything. And I get it, there is no absolute freedom 100%, but, you know, we got it pretty good up until this year, guys. Like, we had so many freedoms, and little by little, it just seems like they're evaporating. I want them back. I want them back ASAP Rocky, bruh. Alright, I can't wait to see you guys in person. I'm going to keep it as is. I've already ranted for about 50 minutes. I love you guys. I will be dropping in on Wednesday most likely, and Friday, and again I'm working on many other things, you guys. Love you guys. Everything's all Gucci, mate. Everything's all Gooch. Don't stress, don't fret, but have intelligent conversations so that we can help each other out. Love you guys. Stay tuned. If you like these videos, please go ahead and like it on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, and also you can check it out on YouTube as well. Love you guys. Stay tuned. Have a nice week, and I'll see you all very soon. Peace out.